does it feel to be part of the A-team?
What?
How does it feel to be part of the A-team?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
You happy to be working?
Yeah.
You like waking up early?
No.
I thought you just said you woke up easy this morning.
Doesn't mean I like it.
Is it easier to wake up at 5:30 or 8:30?
5:30.
What time do you normally wake up in the morning?
10.
Yeah. Why do you want to work?
To buy a new phone.
What's wrong with your old phone?
It's shattered.
Let's have a look at it. Let me see it.
Let me take the case off.
It still works pretty good. What's the other side look like? Okay.
Oh wait, my phone's on. And then the camera's shattered.
Oh, the camera shattered too? Oh,
Yeah.
no wonder why you don't take any pictures. I don't take that many pictures, Dad.
Well, also I don't really take that many pictures.
Because your camera's shattered.
No,
That's why.
because like the camera vibrates.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of phone do you want?
The 16,
16 what?
iPhone 16.
Oh, okay. That's the newest one?
Yeah,
Why do you want iPhone?
because I like iPhone.
Oh, okay. All right. We got a long ride to the job today.
How long?
Another hour and a half.
Oh.
This is the new project here. Just showed up and we're getting ready to set up some scaffolding for this job. This chimney I think is about 30 years old. I think that's what they said. And it was made with these Heritage SWB brick. And it's all failing. It might not be because of the type of brick, but it's probably failing because of how it was built maybe, and just not being able to handle the moisture, and there's probably a lot of moisture storing in there. So it's big. It's about 9 feet across at the bottom, and I think that the part that tapers in up there is about 5 feet across. So it's not very high. It's on this rustic log cabin. It is pretty deep. So yeah, we're gonna get set up to start demoing this thing. We're having a problem finding brick right now because this manufacturer went out of business, and well, their brick making was bought out by Glengarry, and the homeowner really likes the color of this brick, but the problem is Glengarry has butchered all the brick so bad that they just look awful now. So we can't find a match to this brick. It was a nice looking brick back in the day, and yeah, Glengarry has taken all this KF brick and just it's just the whole thing's an abomination, and so we're having a real hard time finding good brick now. Yeah, so this project's going to take a little while. It's a lot of brick, a lot of work here. There's no fireplace inside. It's just a wood stove set up, so that will help out. We get a couple stainless liners going to go in. It's my new helper for this job.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step?
Demolishing.
We're going to just start from the bottom and...
No.
No? Work our way up?
We should start from the top.
How are we going to get there?
Scaffolding.
Okay, so let's start with the scaffolding.
Okay.
All right. Start grabbing it out of the back of the trailer and setting it up.
Just by myself?
Hey, are shorts appropriate work attire?
No, but I only have nice pants.
Okay, that's how we all start out until we work with them. Your legs are going to get all tore up.
We'll be okay.
All right, let's have a look now. Now that we got the scaffolding up here, you can see there's a lot of moss, a lot of moisture in here. Doesn't see a lot of sun. These trees are all encroaching on the house and collecting moss and debris on the roof. So it's just having a hard time drying out because it just gets minimal sun throughout the day. And this crown wash up here is very thin, and it looks like it doesn't have like a crazy amount of slope, so it might have some puddling going on there. It's not all cracked up or anything, it's just really thin. I got a feeling this whole thing is built solid, right? So when chimneys are built solid like that, they hold more water. And then it just can't release it. It stores it like a battery. You can see how this stuff is all, pushing out. And usually that's a sign where, we're holding a lot of moisture, and it's actually like fracturing and bowing in spots. That also is a sign of, it built solid and it's pushing off of something on the inside, all that water collects and then it freezes as like one solid block of ice and pushes everything. So like right here, you can see that big fracture, and the whole thing is just bowed. That wall's been pushed out for a while. So yeah, we're gonna get into the demo and see what really is the problem, see how it was built. Is it heavy?
A little bit.
All right, we got a little demo done, and so it's a block chimney inside of this brick chimney. So they did all the block work first, and then it's not bonded together. So I don't know. It's not like a continuous. I don't know really why it looks like that, but it looks like they just kind of did the back wall separate than the front wall. These are all 8-inch block and then 4-inch in the back, which is a little weird, but I do like that there's a gap around the brick here, and it's not right tight to the block work. This side seems to be the tightest side, and as you can see, that side is just very crumbly. Oh boy, here comes the rain. So now we gotta work on getting this chunk of mortar and concrete out of here. It's going to be a little bit of a chore because I don't have my big saw. Okay, we got the concrete off the top, and now we're into the block work, and it's coming down pretty easy. This stuff is, I don't know if you can tell, but this is saturated in here. It's much more wet in the block work than it was in the back of the brick, but just goes to show how much of a storage system for water this is. When you put a whole bunch of masonry in the middle, it just stores all that water. And somehow we always end up with a rat's nest up here. I don't know how they get it. Well, I do know how they get in, but it's just amazing the little holes they'll get through. If your block work or your brickwork's not tight, mice will get in there. They left this open the whole way, it seems, between the 4-inch and the 8-inch. Obviously there's been holes in the brickwork for a while, so yeah, they just come up and bring some insulation from the house and make a nice nest in here. This pile of seeds here from the mice up in here, up in these block. Been collecting seeds up here for years. We've made it down to this roof level here, and I guess it's probably close to maybe 8 feet from where we were at the top. I think I measured 10 feet from there, so close to 8 feet. Anyhow, this block's still soaking wet. You can see it's just still holding water. That side's dry, this side's wet. That side must just get more sun or something. Just came on our first thimble that's really close. This must be like an upstairs bedroom that had a wood stove in it or something at some point. And we keep finding tons and tons of insulation. Ooh, I think there's a date on that.
You want to know the date?
Oh my God, does it say Brooklyn?
I think this is like Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Chinese food menu.
My mice are eating good.
But yeah, we got these weird holes in here. I don't know what this hole is, but I don't know. Anyhow, below the roof, it turned to 8-inch block, which seems to all be bonded out down here. I don't know. I don't really know what this hole is, but the rest of it seems like it was bonded out and done right. Yeah, it's a big mess. This brick is just like exploding, crumbling when we go to jackhammer it apart, disintegrating. So very hard to stay clean. I mean, I got debris falling everywhere. We're catching the big pieces, but the little stuff's going everywhere, which is fine. We'll just have a little bit more cleanup at the end. Yeah, we're about to call it now, quitting time. We got a long ride home, almost 2 hours home, so we tried to find a local place to dump this here, but the town guys said there's nowhere, even in the local towns around, there's nowhere to dump, so we're trucking it all the way back. If my truck can get out of this hole. It's a really tight turn, and I don't know. Hopefully we can get out of here with it. And then Fiza has worked, well, by the time we're finished and get this covered up, it's going to be your first 12-hour day ever, isn't it?
Really?
Is it difficult?
Not really.
No?
I feel like the other job was more difficult.
Yeah, you've been just sitting around doing nothing on this one?
No. I'm throwing bricks.
Yeah. Getting closer and closer to that new iPhone. One day at a time.
$100 more.
Okay, let's wrap it up. It ain't looking good, fellas. I got too much weight in the trailer and my tires won't grip the grass. I'm trying to come out of this hole. It doesn't look like much of a hole, but it's enough. I'm hoping my winch will get me out of this bind. Oh, it's quite the hole here. Gonna have to bring some more something for that. If we're gonna go down there again tomorrow, we're gonna have to build that up a lot.
Yep.
Well, we did manage to make it out of here okay yesterday. It took a little bit of winching to get out, and it's not helping that it's raining and it's wet grass, but I just brought a bunch of stuff from my house to fill up this trench here and make a little better path up for us, so hopefully we won't get stuck this time. I'll probably still use the winch to get me out of here, but yeah, I just had a bunch of broken laminated planks that I put, they were all snapped in half. When I went through my planks a few weeks ago, I just snapped them all to see if they were any good. These laminated planks don't last that long. They're pretty strong when you first get them, but after about 5 years of living outside, they just snap. Like the glue inside of them gets like all moldy or something, and they snap. You put 100 pounds on it and then it snaps. These ones are actually stronger. These hemlock plank that I have here, I bought those ones in 2019, and this one's out of circulation because it's got a crack in it and it's starting to get weak, so makes for a decent ramp. But that hemlock is actually stronger in the long run than that laminated plank is. Now I'm sure if I kept everything inside, that laminated plank would still be good, but I don't have a place at my house to put all my plank inside, so okay. Yeah, well, it's raining a little bit. Hopefully the weather's going to get a little nicer here. We're going to start ripping into this thing, and we probably have 2 more full loads. It's a long ride home, with a full trailer there. So we probably have 2 more full loads in that trailer, I would suspect. So Demo today, and then we'll have one more day of demo probably. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, this is small.
Gross.
Hmm.
100 generations of mouse poop. Well, I found out where that thimble hole was. I forgot there was a thimble hole cut way in up there. I don't remember why he said it was cutting up there, but it's just strange. So I have to carefully take that out and plug it. You know, I'll just plug it with a moving blanket. So I carefully got that stuff down below here. And this was a thimble hole. Maybe when they were originally building the house, they had the wood stove piped in up here. Not much of a buffer between the woods. There's a little buffer here. Not so much on that side, but yeah, a little sketchy, but it seemed to do the trick when they needed it. Didn't burn the house down, so that was good. I did notice that they did cleave the back of these logs off, which is typical when you get something like this. I was surprised to see that the brickwork, went around these. They just, they pretty much flat cut all the brick and then just mortared in around these logs. I was surprised to see that. Typically you don't see that, but what the woman next door reminded me is that her and her husband built this house years ago, and the husband was a handy guy. He built all the blockwork. He built the entire chimney himself, and he wasn't a mason. So he built this, and then I think like 20 years or 30 years after they built the house, then they had a mason come in and do all the brickwork. So I would have liked to see him cut these logs out in the same way they did that, and then put some lead-ins in or something, some pieces of wood to butt the brick up against. That seems like that would be the right way to do it, You just set that piece of wood in here, and it's, 4 inches wide or whatever. You set it into the log. And a lot of times they do it in a way where the logs can still move while they're drying. This will give you a good look at the bow here. How much this section kind of bowed out. It must have just filled up with water here. Turned into big icicles on the inside, and pushed this whole wall out. And you can see that this blockwork all down here, it's all saturated. So if it never dries out, it only takes a little bit of water for it to really be too much water. And then it just turns into big icicles here and pushes on the whole structure. You see a lot of some of the moisture here. I don't know how much rots here, but I'm going to look into that. Looks like water's been coming in on that corner there for a while. Oh, and then also, look at these tunnels in here. Look at the tunnels through the insulation where these mice or squirrels or whatever were coming through into the chimney. Yeah, so we're going to rebuild this with a little different design. We're going to try to get rid of these, the short little angles here. Probably do like one continuous wash on either side. And then we don't have to have the brickwork out so far because we're getting rid of this 8-inch block. So we'll be able to step this brickwork in and then have it go perfectly plumb. And get rid of some of these water problems. You know, the washes look good and decorative, but they do collect more water, you know, so we're going to try to cut back on some of those and make this next chimney last a little longer. This is a good look at the inside here, how it was built. These flues come up from the basement. That must have had a wood stove on it at some point. It's all cracked up. This flue has always been unused, and then this flue runs to that middle, the wood stove in the living room. And you can see down here that look at all the nesting material down here too. Everywhere we look inside this chimney is mouse nests. I mean, decades of mouse nests, hundreds of generations of mice have been living in this chimney. I say hundreds, but if a mouse lives, I wonder what one generation of a mouse is. Maybe it's like 6 months, 3 months. How long does a mouse live? They don't live a year, do they?
I need to put on my glasses. I think you can grab that one.
Well, we're continuing the demo. We got a full load on the trailer, so I had to try to get it out of the hole. It was a real pain to get it out this time. I finally got it out, and we're just working on ripping this down a little bit more. We definitely got one more full load here, probably. But just look at all this. Man, this whole entire chimney is just one giant mouse nest. And so I'm just getting down here, and it seems like there's a concrete pour right here, which I think makes sense from looking down from the bottom. So there's a metal pipe, and I think the metal pipe goes into the pour here. So I just opened this up here. This was like had a piece of steel angle shown here, and there was a couple of red brick, you know, mounted up here. I didn't know what this was for, if it was going to be some kind of access or something for something, but more mouse nesting material. And then this is the back side of that box where that wood stove sits, and some paper. It looks like a door. I didn't notice the door in there before, but I guess there's a door in there. Yeah, just some paper for starting the stove, and some insulation that was stuffed in here that had been eaten through. I'm trying to see how much I can get away with demoing here. You can see the back of that box is right there, so I can take this full 8-inch block out of there, which is what I want to do. You know, so I can get this whole chimney to be in more. And yeah, so I'll be able to take that block right out of there. And then I think there's a concrete slab. It's probably, you know, it's got to be supporting on the block work that way. So I'll probably have to leave some of that block work on either side and then just take out the back wall here. Almost done the demo here. Just getting back down, we're getting down to the last little bit. You can see everything down here is filled with this Whittemore attic insulation. It's dry up here, and it's good insulation, but the problem is that stuff holds so much moisture, once that holds moisture in there, there's no way to get the moisture out. It's just going to be in there forever. Still finding a bunch of mouse stuff in here. It's kind of gross. Block is all saturated still. I just got my delivery and it had to go back, so they brought the wrong kind of brick. This will be the third load going out of here, so I got a little bit left. I'm going to take out the brick, the block, and then all that is going to stay, minus the crack flues. I'll take those out. Yeah, so they're going to have delivery here tomorrow, so no laying brick today. So I'll just get this demoed, cleaned up, start, cleaning up some of the log stuff and marking my angles, maybe cutting some of those logs out of the way. I'll figure out something to do. And then brick will be here tomorrow at like 10 or 11 o'clock, I guess. Okay, this is the wood stove flue that you're looking at. This is the pipe that comes up from the inside, and that was your 8x12 flue that I just took out of there. And then it looks like over the years they would just stuff the pipe up and then put this gasket material around to seal it up. And you notice the cracking. That's always going to happen when you have a flue that's all mortared in like that. Something has to give. The heat's very powerful, crack anything. That's why we need room for expansion. So this new liner is going to be a stainless liner with a 1/2-inch wrap of insulation around it. So this hole's big enough to get that liner down through, and then we'll repipe it to the stove with some stainless steel. I'll probably mount that liner from the bottom of this concrete pour, straight up with some Tapcons or something, like a top plate but made for the bottom. Okay, so that's my center mark for the foundation that I finally found. It was covered in brick. They had the old brick was only bearing like 1.5 inches on the foundation all the way around. They stuck that brick way over the concrete foundation. So, but now I'm getting back onto it, and as you can see, I've taken out the logs on the side here. So my brick comes up a little straighter, and I don't have to build around like these guys were just building around the logs. But it made for like a big fat motor joint back here, so I'm just trimming those logs out so my brickwork will stay back and be a little bit more seamless. The problem I'm having now is, so I've got this centered, and this is my brick dimension here, right on the edge of that rot, which is good because I'm going to cut that with the chainsaw and take out some of that rot. It's not too bad, like it's just the outside of it seems, but I mean it could be a lot worse. But the problem I'm having is, this angle will come up, and then that's the outside dimension of the brickwork. But on this side, this is the outside dimension of the brickwork here, right? So the old brick came up here, and this is where the new brick wants to come up, which is tricky because now I'm off center, so everything's off centered. So this side needs to get bigger, and I could go an extra 1/2 brick, but I'm still not quite filling that hole. And then really what I could do is just come all the way to this edge and make the brickwork work out for that. Even if I have to do broken bond in the middle to make it work out, I could get it to that line and come up seamless, through that opening. But the one thing I'm worried about is this angle coming up. So this angle, if it's supposed to be symmetrical with that one, it's really not going to match the same pitch because I'm off. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if it would be, if you stand back and look at it, if you'd be able to see it or not. If it was off, the angle's off, this much. So that's about 5 inches, probably 5.5 inches. Yeah, I don't know. Something to think about. Just checking out the basement after the demo. So yeah, that flue is going to disappear, so that'll get capped off. They never used it. They're never going to use it. We're going to run a liner for this boiler. But you know, everything was framed to hold and support everything. When they poured that originally concrete slab over the top. But now that the demo's done, I've got some work to do in here. There was some block work that ran out there that I got to put back in. I got to make sure I fill these corners in. Put it on the board.
On the board.
The tough part about these Glengarry bricks is when you're laying them, it's not like you're just not used to laying brick in the way that you have to lay these. So, you know, just to explain, they all have these nasty knurled out edges to them, right? So a lot of them are curved, okay? And
Can't really see it.
yeah, you can. Look at the level rock, and it's curved, right?
Well,
Okay, so it's curved, right? And normally it's fine to get curved brick, and what you do is you lay the tops up. The two points, the highest points are up, so your line or your level will hit the two highest points, and it won't rock, right? The tricky part about these Glengarrys is it's just got this knurl on that, and that's always on the opposite side. So normally you would want your line to this side, the side that it, you know, with the 2 points facing up. The problem with these ones is you got to lay them down. You got to get that knurl away from the line. So now you're laying it like that, and there's no good place for your level to contact that brick except for right in the middle, which can be a problem because, you know, if your level's only hitting 1 point, you're going to drive it down and the other end's going to come up. So I don't know. It's tricky working. I really like working with nice straight brick, but you know, I guess you got to be able to work with a little bit of everything. So it looks decent when it's all laid in. So this is Glengarry brick in a nutshell. So you can see that I'm touching this other brick here, and I'm open here. It's enough room for a mortar joint, right? And then look where these mortar joints fall in line. So I'm already one brick off the corner, and I'm way beyond this brick here off the corner. And after 2 brick, it's just like, I mean, it's way off. And then before you know it, you're an inch off on your head joints after just 3 brick. And this is one of the really frustrating parts. And then also, you know, because I got this knurled bottom, I can't lay that on the top because it would hit my line. So I gotta lay the arc. These brick all have an arc in them. So this is the high spot, and these spots are low. So I gotta lay both of these points below the line, and then this one is slightly above the line, you know, instead of flipping the brick the other way and laying the high points on either side. I'm laying it all kind of backwards, and it's just a wonky brick to work with. It doesn't look bad when it's done. It's just not something I like working with. All right, here's a look at the chimney from back. It's going slow. You know, this is one of the jobs where I really could use another mason on it. 9 feet from one end to the other it's a long run for one guy. But we're chugging along. I'm just glad to have Fiza here helping. She's taking care of all the joining, making sure everything's full. Cleaning some of the mortar joints up. Doing all the jointing down here. She's doing a nice job. You like your new job?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you like best about it?
The jointing.
Okay, so I decided to build up a brick wall inside here. And we poured some concrete. I don't have a light, but you can see I poured some concrete in there to kind of flatten it out. It was just a bunch of just debris before, so and then, you know, this is all just brickwork in here, oozing mud, so I just did the same thing with the back here. So it's all just going to be oozing mud out the back. So just cleaning up the witch's hole a little bit. I've got my block going up. I've got the taper in place for the liner to be able to taper down down to the bottom, and same on this side, block work going up, and it's looking nice up against the logs, a lot nicer than before. Like I said, it's just slow. Oh, you know, and I forgot to mention, so, you know, I'm using gray mud in the middle here because it's just cheap, and everything else is built out of gray mud. And all this mud on the outside is lime mortar. So this is all quick, like quick lime. So hot lime mortar or quick lime that I mixed up at my house, and I put it in some barrels and buckets, and I've just got a few batches of it, you know, ready to go. So we don't have to really mix it on the job, except for just to, you know, just spin it up to make it more workable. It does dry out a little. The water kind of comes to the top, so especially on the ride here, it's like a 2-hour ride. So, but anyhow, yeah. So, you know, this chimney's so big, and it has had some moisture issues through the years, getting into the house. So, it's got these really long jogs, and I just wanted to build this chimney out of something that could, you know, take care of the water issue. And you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I talk about this with the Portland mortars, how they hold the water in, so the brick and everything gets wet, and the mortar gets wet, and it can't let the water out. So everybody tries to prevent that by like putting spray-on products or whatever. But lime mortar has proven itself, and it has like capillaries to the outside, so the water can wick back out of this like at a super high rate. So, you know, you could just be dousing this, and this brick and that mortar will just drink up that water. They'll drink it right up, and it will come right back out. So as opposed to like a really dense water struck brick that's not supposed to absorb water, and a Portland based mortar, which, you know, if that got wet, it would stay wet forever. And yes, water struck brick do get wet. You can't even lay them if they get a little bit moist because they're so wet. They hold a lot of water. The Portland mortars hold a lot of water, and they just won't let it out. This will let it out. You could spray this with a hose all day, and it's going to keep shedding water and letting it out. You'll spray it up here, and it will come out lower. So that's why I really like this lime mortar. It is a little tricky to work with. You know, to lay it, it's a little different, but you know, you don't have to join it the same day. You know, you could do all this brickwork, and you could come back and tool it up in 2 days time, you know, as long as it's not sitting out in the sun baking like crazy, which you don't want to do with this type of mortar anyway. But yeah, the progress is slow. I need another mason, one guy on each side, would make this go way faster. But I don't know. I got a couple more feet up to the wash, and then it will taper down and get a little easier once I get smaller. But just gonna keep trucking. Okay, it's the end of the day. We didn't get as much done today as we wanted, but I just started racking this brick back from the middle, and I stayed away from building too much of the corner. I just got the turn on there, and I actually mitered both of the brick because I thought it looked smoother. And you know, I cut out the logs this morning, and now I got to get these divider walls going. This one's gonna have to start angling like this. You see that Sharpie line? It's gonna have to start angling up. So I'm probably gonna have to build something behind here and cut some angled block at 25 degrees and start laying that wall up that way. You know, the only thing that we had close by at the hardware store was Type S, so I'm not going to put Type S anywhere near the outside of a chimney because I know, you know, Type S will, you build a chimney with Type S and it's going to just destroy itself. So I know they're pushing it on everybody, and that's what people like to use now, which is crazy. But, you know, considering the track record we've had for the last 20 or 30 years of people using Type S mortar and all these chimneys just blowing up, you know, like this chimney, you know, I think the guy said it was 30 years old. So, and, you know, hopefully we can get 100 out of it when we're done because we're using this old mortar. I'm sure it'll go for more. I mean, how many chimneys do you see standing for 200 years or more that have been built with this quicklime mortar, you know? So there's something to it. Yeah. This is how I'm going to do the divider walls. You know, instead of, you know, making a bunch of cuts, I laid it out so I could do stack 2 block and stand 1 up. I did have to rip these ones just because this bottom block, you know, I'm using the styrofoam to keep it 1 inch off, and there's a log that runs through that's a little fatter, and so that block got kicked in a little bit. So I did have to trim like a 1/2 inch off these blocks. But after this, I should be able to just do it with no cuts on the divider wall. And, you know, I'll tie it together with wall ties, and then I'll, every once in a while, I'll stick a block into this back wall like this to lock everything together. I'll probably only do that, you know, this chimney, I'll probably do it twice. You know, there's no, you don't have to really keep doing it, but I'll do it twice. Probably once here and then once at the top before I go through somewhere. Yeah, so I mean, it's looking good. Oh, the angle. I stayed away from the angle because I you know, I could just continue to like put pieces in here and just mark 25 degrees and cut them, but I'm afraid that I'm going to be off or a little bit twisted from where that meets up there. So I really want to build something tomorrow morning and get at least a string line to follow, rather than try to build all the way up there and be like, oh boy, something's wrong here. I'll put a string line up and I'll be able to gauge that line against that cut against the back wall and make sure everything is looking square and good. And then once I get that string line in, I'll just make all the cuts right to the line.
What?
So before we get started laying brick today, we're just trying to take care of this log siding. I got the angles cut into both sides, and so they're going to come up symmetrical now and meet, you know, right here. And I've got it marked out to the 27th course, to that point there, and then from there it's going to go plumb. I haven't cut out that plumb part yet on either side. I did get into some of this rot here and took some of it out, and it's not too bad beyond here. It's just a little tiny bit of punky right here, but another 1/2 inch or inch in, and it's into decent wood again. So some of this will be cut out. It'll probably be like where was my mark? Oh, like plumb from here. See that black line? It's gonna go plumb. So most of that rot's coming out, and then I'm trying to chisel away some of this stuff so my back wall, when it comes through here, doesn't have to, it can be mostly flat going across. Well, that's as much as I can do for now. I've got everything roughly flat, and I'm still going to try to keep my 1 inch off the back of that with the 1 inch styrofoam like I normally do and move it up as I go. I'll do the rest of this. There's only a little bit left to do, but when I plumb up these sides, I'll wait for my scaffolding to be up here when I do the rest of it. I left that little guy on because that's my center mark for the whole chimney, so I'll wait to take that off. And yeah, I think that's flat enough to work with. You know, of course, I wasn't expecting that I would have to do this when I got here, but I didn't know. So it's important to just plan for everything. You know, working with a log cabin, bring your chainsaw, bring your wood chisel. You know, the last guy didn't do any of this, but I think it does make a difference. And I think it's worth doing, especially for the brick coming up the side. It's just much cleaner look when that brick fades into the log, you know, and then they'll have a much better time caulking it. So I've just been working on the angle here, trying to get it up to a certain point where I can use my brick ruler and mark all the heights for these side walls. I just don't want these to come up in two different places. You know, at first I thought, oh, maybe I'll just have them come up at the same time, but I really think it's better just to build this. I'll mark all my heights on here, mark my heights over there, and I'll be able to stay right on with them. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to work on next, since I'm getting pretty high here, and I don't want to jump my plank before I get this wall up. So yeah. This is just a look at what everything's kind of looking like. Okay, we're getting these shoulders up. Just jumped the plank up. It's pretty hot and sunny today. It's pretty, what is it, like 87 degrees today?
Yeah.
I gotta watch out here now. I'm gonna be bumping my head all the time because
Like me.
got all this block work coming up through. You know, when you're doing stuff like this, it's just like a lot of chaos, and you're trying to get everything to blend together. And you know, you got a bunch of different materials you're using with different mortars at different heights, and you're really trying to get everything to the same height. And so now I'm pretty close. You know, this block work and that brick is all at the same height as this block work, and everything's really close. So yeah, both of these shoulders are built up to this point now, and Fiza's doing all the joining, and which is nice because I don't have to stop and do any of it. Anything that she can do to help out on this job is nice, because you know, this is one of the jobs that it's just too big for me, and now that I'm here, I'm like, why am I here? I should have never taken this job on. I don't have any help, and I really need another mason to help on the other side. It's going brutally slow because, well, I mean, that's just how these go by yourself. So but Fiza's helping move material. We've got the tong set to 7 at a time, and she's able to get them up here, and she has a hard time keeping up with the block, but she gets them
really?
one at a time. She can't lift a full bucket of mud.
What do you mean?
She can't start the demo saw, but she can use the battery powered one. But no, we're getting it done. Yeah, so this is what it's looking like for this hole here. I just have to angle this up, you know, with this wash. And well, I do have a line back there, but it's on the wood. I got it behind the foam. And so it's just going to continue to angle up, and this one, I'm stepping this block over. I did just tie in. You see this block here? I tied into the back wall there. I'm going to do it again. But this course, I'll probably tie in with wall ties here, and then I'll tie into the masonry of the back wall in a couple more courses. I do have to taper this. This is where I have an 8-inch stainless liner that's going in here. So before I get too high, I have to make sure that this liner, when I put it in from the top, it funnels towards that circle that you see, that steel pipe. So I gotta slant everything, and I'll probably put one more block here, so when I put the liner down, there's no chance that it's gonna hit a flat spot and not want to go to that center point. It doesn't have to like be pretty, but it just has to be angled up enough to where that liner wants to feed to the middle. And this is, as I build up with the brick, I'm just building this over. This next course of block here will just span this hole and sit on this edge here. And I'm actually just, I'm moving this over because center is over here. You can see my mark for center right there, and I have a mark for center right here. So it is, it's a big hole because, this is built off center of the chimney. So I'm gonna just step this over and get closer to center. I don't know that this flue has to come up perfectly centered in the chimney. It didn't before. Just like this one, do I angle it, towards me and get it more centered in the chimney? So this is all stuff I got to figure out as I go. But anyhow, yeah, I'm going to keep building right now. For right now, I'm going to build up on this front brick wall. Probably, I'm probably just going to build it up as right to the top now because, yeah, where am I going here? I'm really close. Oh, this line here. Okay. That's the top, the very top of that course. So I'll have to pull this whole jig off for that very top course, which is fine. So I'll just build up this front wall as high as I can and then get all this formwork out of here so then I can have a little bit more freedom to move. It's tricky working on this thing because, it was deep before and it's still deep, that's a long reach for me to lay a 4-inch block on the back wall there, or just to step over and lay that brick. But anyhow, yeah, it's going all right. I'd love to get these washes done and just get this thing back, to a rectangle, and then it's going to be a lot nicer. So we had to start out this morning by going to the lumber yard and getting some reinforced poly because it's going to rain all day. And so we spent this morning setting up shelter. And we really can't afford to lose a day while we're here. So just been, now that I'm up higher, I'm able to chisel all these logs out where I needed to. And this gable kind of leans back that way, so I don't have to chisel these logs beyond here, but I still did make a groove for the brick to go in, just so it looks cleaner coming up the side. And then this was the hole where the thimble was, so I just chiseled this back here and I cut this piece of 3/4 inch plywood. I'm gonna put that on there. I've got some lumber lock and I'll just lumber lock around there and screw it real tight. I just didn't want to leave it and have the chimney exposed to I don't know. It's been open for all these years with just a thimble going through it. They can fix it from the inside or whatever, but I'll just do this before I block it up and they can't do anything from out here. Yeah, so I'm going to put that on, and I've just got to plumb up that cut and chisel out pretty much this log and just like a little bit here and there. And then the block work should come up by there and have an inch air gap. Right there, you can see we got more than an inch right there, but it goes back and forth. So sometimes there's way more than an inch and sometimes it's tight and you got to move the block away. So, all right, yeah, just finishing this up and we're going to start laying brick for the day, or we're going to start laying block, the internal stuff, and then we'll get to laying brick after. Okay, I finally got all these logs chopped out of here. Got a plumb line on both sides, and had a little bit of work between that and sheltering, and we're still getting soaking wet. Jeez, gotta have to fix that. Got a puddle up there, and it's getting my radio all wet, and my drill. Anyhow, it's gonna rain hard all day today, so I guess we're just gonna have to deal with this somehow. put a little roof on here. Yeah, so finally I can mix some mud and get moving on this thing. I got to get all those internals built up. And then, yeah, I can't really do any brickwork till all the block work is done up to a certain point. Pretty much as high as I can go with the block work. Then I can start on the brick shoulders again. So I'm working on getting these shoulders up. And so, you know, yesterday I laid all the block and with the gray mud. And now I'm just laying this brick in. And I find the easiest way to do it is to just hit my marks here. So I've marked this all out on 2s, and I just, you know, got my level line going across, and I can follow that really easy. And you see how that brick just kind of dies into that log real nice. Even, you know, we're bigger than the chimney here, but still it's nice to lay that brick all the way in there, and it just gives it a much better look than filling it with mortar. Yeah, so it's been a long time since I showed you guys how to use a ruler, but let me just show you here. So anyhow, this is my Rhino ruler, and it's just a standard, right there, standard brick spacing ruler, it says, right? So from the top of your brick, right, to your line, that's marked on the 2. Every course I'm marked on the 2, right? And that's about as skinny as a joint as you're gonna get. It's very hard to go on 1s, but so typically I usually go on 4s with a normal brick and a normal joint, and that's pretty tight. Most people would go on 5s. But anyhow, yeah, 4s work out good for normal mortar with the gray mortar. You could never get away with using gray mortar and laying these brick that tight. Even though it might not look tight, but it's tight. I mean, some of these brick are darn near touching, you know. And it look, you know, because the mortar kind of comes out the front, but they're pretty much touching in spots. So 2s is as tight as you can get it, and it gives it a nice clean look when it's all jointed up. And also, you know, this lime mortar is probably better suited for tighter joints. I think, you know, the bigger you go with the joints, the weaker it is. So really it does best in this setting where everything is tight. Well, I've got it down to a rectangle here. Got these washes all done, and yeah, I mean, I gotta jump the staging now, and I don't really need that other set of staging over there anymore, because I'll be able to build everything just off of this one. So I'll be able to pull all the plank off the side and use them up here. That flue right there is, I don't have to mess with this really anymore either. It was coming up at an angle the whole time, and from here on, I've just got to, you know, tie that block in right there, and from here on that flue was just going to come up straight. So yeah, everything's getting easier. Yeah, I guess, I mean, this is where I'm at. And what else? I've got some wall ties, probably more than I need, but there's not a lot of house here to get it tied in, so just going a little overkill. My brickwork is going to tie in, so basically where this brick is, I'll have a brick turn and come this way. You can see I've missed it a little bit with the block, so this block has to come out this way a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to keep kind of putting this dummy brick back here just to kind of fill that void. Otherwise, how do you fill that and trim it out? You know, everything's just so wonky here with the logs. So I'm just going to keep butting my brick the whole way, so it looks nice. And then when I get above the roof, then this will actually turn, and the chimney will actually be a little bit smaller. but you'll never be able to tell because, you know, it'll be coming through the roof and it'll all be flashed up. So have a look at it. That's the wash. It's still messy, but this will all be jointed up tomorrow and cleaned up. This is where I'm at up here. So that's just going to be the, you know, the flue for the boiler. You see the transition in there where it's everything kind of tapers. This is for the wood stove. That one's nothing. I ended up building this block up like this for the shadow box. So on this course, that's where the shadow box is going to start. And I think, if I remember right, it was basically it's 1.5 brick. So this will be the shadow box here to about that mark. And then as I built this up, you notice that I was very careful to not get any mud the whole way up against this back wall. I don't want any of this gray mud or the block right up against that back wall. You know, because I want water to be able to penetrate through this brick and, you know, just dissipate, run down, dissipate into the other masonry. I don't want it into this concrete because I know that the concrete in this type S mud holds a lot of moisture, and I just don't want moisture to sit in here and fester. Like, I'd rather have 4-inch walls where you know, there's air on both sides, and it can dry. I don't want to ever take and put like a big massive block against the outside of the chimney. I want some air to be able to get. I want water to be able to run down the inside, and I want air to get to it. Not that water runs down the inside, but, you know, potentially it could. I just don't want it to all store in here like a battery. I don't mind, you know, if I contact that outside wall right here, I don't mind it because I'm only 4 inches thick, and I did mud that in with gray mud. And I think something like that is fine because, you know, it's only 4 inches thick and it can get air on both sides to dry. I just don't want I don't want a big solid mass of masonry to store that water, you know. Getting a little bit of rain.
A little bit. More like thunderstorms.
Anyhow, it's gonna rain for the rest of the day, so I gotta record a little bit in this rain. We got the shadow box going, and yeah, it's going pretty good. It's pretty simple. I've got the line here that's really helping me with this this really crooked brick, but I'm just running it beyond and tying it in like this. So every course I've got to cut a little veneer piece, sort of like this one, although that's a little short, like that. So it'll happen on every side. It happens, and it will hide, and you won't be able to tell. But it's nice that on every course, this course it locks in on this side. Next course it will lock in on that side. And then I just got some block work backing this. I'd like to lay some more block, but I got all my block. We don't have any more on the staging, and then I don't really feel like going out in the rain to get it right now. And then also a lot of it is cuts, so I got to do a lot of cutting still. But this is pretty much how it's going to come up. This hole and this hole, and I am going to keep running this block the whole way straight up, and I'm going to keep, you know, butting this block work in over here. That'll just help support the back of this shadow box, and it'll give the chimney a lot of structure, you know, having this butted in on both sides. Just stack them on the ground then.
Where do you want me to stack them?
Just put them right here, right behind the mud board, okay? Good. Hey, now you don't have to really hardly lift them. You just slide them and stack them all right behind the mud board for me. Okay?
Oh, I see where you're going.
See how these ones are stacked?
Yeah.
Like this. So then I can grab them and lay them. Okay? Try to keep your knees off the...
Yeah.
You're gonna get your pants all stained up.
Where to stop? Go grab me another screw. So I didn't use it.
How many people does it take to screw in a board?
Not many.
Are you gonna get it or what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's something underneath it?
No. There we go.
Excuse
I'm
me.
done.
Should I trust it with my life now?
Yes.
All right.
Jump on it.
Not going anywhere.
I don't feel safe with the ladders anyway.
Okay, this is a good look at the shadow box and how it's getting tied in.
Oh, it stopped
So-
raining. You said you were gonna film tomorrow.
Pipe down. So you just got these little pieces here, and so on this course, I've got the cut piece, and then this is the 2 brick course, and that finishes like that.
So do you. You look like.
And you see, this one's on the next course, so it ties in here on this course. It's pretty simple, sturdy.
You're wearing a white shirt. Your hair is down. Your hair is down.
At least I brushed my hair. I brushed my hair.
Are you talking about brushing your hair for YouTube?
No, we're talking about who's just for work and who's not.
I didn't know I was going to be working today. Don't want to me.
At least.
You should always dress for work. That's why I wear work pants every day.
We know because you never wear shorts. Yeah.
Go mix that gray mud up before it gets too hard.
I'm just kidding.
Dad! What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're what?
She said nothing.
What's on your face and in your hair? Okay, I got my form for the arch cut out. It's a pretty high arch. It's pretty much just a half circle. Trying to match what was there. Typically, I would do more of like an elliptical arch. The joints are a lot tighter with those half brick going around, you know. But I did cut some wedge shaped bricks to go in between the half bricks to kind of tighten things up a little bit. And I'm just getting this. This is the back wall of the shadow box, so I was able just to lay out these brick with just some tight spacing, and then I put the form over it. And I've got my cuts all made up, so it's a lot of cuts. I've got the arch all cut out, and now I've just got to cut this out, and then after that I can get up and lay it up. So I've got the alphabet for my left side, so I'll cut all these left side pieces and I'll put those in a bucket, and then I'll cut all these right side pieces, I'll put those in a bucket, and that way I won't get confused when I'm up there. Okay, the arch is in. Definitely takes some extra effort to do a shadow box, but really the arch is the big thing. There's a lot of cutting, you know. Got to cut all this. Got to cut the brick going around the arch. Cut the brick going above the arch. It's a lot of extra work. But the good news is it's done. And we got a little bit left, and we're out of here. Probably one more day of laying the brick, and probably put the concrete crown wash on, and then we'll be out of here. I did mess up a little bit. I was, I had all this. I bonded this arch out. I laid everything out on a board, and I marked my heights and but then I ended up dropping a half inch or so. Actually, no, it was more than that. I dropped 3/4 of an inch. I dropped my form down 3/4 of an inch to make all this fit with tighter joints, and I forgot. Usually what I do is I bond everything out. I'll start from here and I'll bond it out, and really I want the top. I want this flush with my masonry line, so my brick cuts right up to the edge of it, and then the next course goes right over the top. It doesn't really matter so much. It is a mistake on my part, because then what ends up happening is you got these cuts that are like a lot harder to do. Like that cut's a hard cut to do without breaking it. So it does take time to do that, and that's the only real reason it matters. Otherwise it doesn't. So if you got the tools to make the cut, I guess it's no big deal. But really, bond it out and have the top of your course flush with the top of your arch, and the cuts will be easier. But yeah, no biggie. Let's come around this side. I'm ready to jump this stage, and in the morning, the problem that we're having here is everything's all parched up. I do got to lay some block first thing in the morning to get it up to height here, and then I'll tie it in at this course, or thereabouts anyway. That's all the mud I got left. So I thought I mixed enough mud to finish this job. I had 3 big barrels of it, and we used it all up. I guess we're using a lot more parge in the inside than I thought. And so I got to go home tonight. It's going to be a late night. I got to mix some of that quicklime mortar. It's really hot when you mix it, so I don't want to mix it and just bring it up in the morning. So I'll mix it tonight and let it sit till morning, and then it should be cool enough where I can actually handle it and put it in the buckets without melting the buckets, Yeah, so it's a shame. What do I got? I figured that I had, so we're really close. Obviously these joints are a lot tighter than what they had, but they had like a little bigger cut here coming across, and then 2 courses. So 2 courses, and then they started bumping out. What I'm going to do is just do 2 more full courses, and then I'm going to I'll bump out 5 courses and leave it on that outward note. So when I put my rain cap on, it's going to shed water away from the whole entire top of the chimney. But yeah, so, tomorrow's Friday, so we'll finish the brickwork Friday and then come back Monday, wash all this down. It does come pretty clean as we're jointing up. Like, this stuff is sloppy this day because it's been pouring rain here. So the brick are wet, which it's really nice to lay the wet brick with the lime mortar. It just does get a little smudgy, but you just take the wire brush, and this wire brush, it does a really good job cleaning everything off. It's just a stainless wire brush, and you can see Faiza already kind of got to that stuff, and it's getting mostly clean. But we will have to just kind of, just give everything a light wash after. I'll bring the power washer up, and, we can wash the house and the roof and everything. Looks pretty good. Oh, she's so strong. Okay, finally I'm all set up to pour some concrete up here. I've just gone around and painted the entire outside edge with the bonding agent, and I've hit the flues too. A lot of times the concrete will dry up around the flues, so I'm gonna try it this time, see how it does, so it doesn't want a hairline crack around the flues so much when it dries so quick. But yeah, we've got some sand topping mix and some Portland in the truck, and we're gonna start mixing it up. Some people call it sand mix, some people call it sand topping mix. It's just like Portland and sand, but I got some extra Portland just to add a little bit extra to it, make it a little better. And it's gonna be real hot today, so we're gonna have to work fast with it, and then we're probably gonna have to cover it up and you know, leave it covered and damp for the night. All right, we're ready to mix now, and like I was saying, that we have this we've got this sand mix. A lot of times you can find this at your local hardware store. We're not mixing you know, mortar sand in Portland or stone dust in Portland today, so we're quite a ways away from home. So the local hardware store had this sand mix. The sand mix is just, it's Portland and basically like a concrete sand. Let me show you. You can see there's got little tiny pebbles in it, right? So it's like a, they call that like a concrete sand or a wash sand or whatever. You wouldn't use that for mixing mortar. It's a little bit more coarse. And people use this stuff for all kinds of stuff. Shower pans, for custom showers, and works pretty good on concrete chimney stuff, like you know, the crown wash like we're gonna do. It is a little bit lacking on Portland, so I'm gonna add a little bit. So I have, just get yourself a little scooper. This is the one that I have, and I'm gonna use half of this. So one bag, I just poured it into 2 buckets, and probably you could fill this up if you wanted to mix just one bag with 1 scoop. So I'm just gonna put half of the Portland into that, half of the bucket of the Portland, and then I have this bonding agent. It's just an acrylic bonding agent, and I'm just gonna add, it's a 16-ounce cup, so I'm gonna just add, I don't know, 14 or 15 ounces to it, and that's gonna help it today. It's gonna make it more workable for me and smoother when I go to trowel it off, but also today's gonna be super hot and sunny, so that's gonna help it retain moisture so it doesn't want to crack. In the sun, we have to be very careful. We don't want stuff to crack. So instead of adding that to the bucket of water, I know that I've got my pre-measured amount in every bucket, and then I'll just, you know, add water to the top and mix it as I need. You don't want to mix it too loose. The more water in there, the more likely it is to crack. But also, we don't want it so crumbly that we can't work with it. So you're just gonna find that in between that works really well. Oh boy. Is that stuff heavier than the mortar? We're just getting ready to start the lead flashing here. Got this ice and water shield on before we left yesterday. There was a considerable amount of rot behind here. I wasn't able to get it on video. I was really just trying to rush and get through. But there was a aluminum step flashing the whole way up, and of course the very top piece of the flashing was lapped backwards. So all this plywood was raw, and I had to cut it out and reframe it and get new plywood. Sometimes you run into that stuff. It's just a pain. I'm just glad that there's a lumber yard. It's only like I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes down the road, so I was able to get some lumber and plywood to fix it. So yeah, we did the concrete yesterday, and it's looking pretty good. It's been really hot and sunny, so we had a lot of direct sunlight. And so what I did was to help hold the moisture in, I painted the whole thing with the bonding agent, the acrylic bonding agent, to help hold that moisture in. Sometimes when the sun beats down on it, and yeah, it's just not good. So you can see there's no cracking around the flue, which typically happens when it dries fast. And then also when it dries fast, what can happen is the concrete curls on the ends, and it actually will lift up off the brickwork, you know. But you can see none of that happens. So just painting it with the bonding agent and painting the brick before we put it down really helps to hold the moisture in. And you know, today we can throw something damp over it, or just keep hosing it throughout the day to kind of make it cure even slower. I do have to cut the wire lath out where these liners are going to go through. I'll probably do that today too. And then yeah, so we're going to do this flashing, and you know, we don't need that scaffolding anymore, so we'll take that down, clean up the roof, get out of here on this side. I'll just leave that scaffolding for the liners when the liners come in. You know, whenever, if they get here next week, then I'll come back over here and put these liners in. And the roofing, I've got these shingles. They're a different brand, but they match pretty decent. So, well, as good as I could get for, you know, the age of this roof and how nasty it is. You know, you can see all the black and the moss and stuff growing on it. So these ones match pretty good. Yeah, all right, getting underway. Okay, the lead and the shingles are all done. Just stripped the scaffolding out of here and gave the roof a wash down. And just, you know, hosing all this brickwork now. I'm not cleaning it yet. It's actually pretty clean. It's just got some spatter on it. So you can see the flashing steps up nicely here. That's what the back looks like. Got some pitch on the back, so make sure that water is going to run out, right? See how the water runs out. Just get the tiniest little bit right there. I suppose I could push that down more. Yeah, so this brickwork, you can't spray this with enough water. This mortar really can use the water to help set up. You know, it doesn't set up. It's not a hydraulic mortar, so it doesn't set up with water. It sets up by carbonation, so it's got to basically absorb carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and so it takes a really long time. So this mortar is not going to be set for like weeks and months. It probably take a good year before it gets really hard, and it keeps getting harder and harder and harder, supposedly for like 100 years, but before it starts degrading. And every time it gets wet, it it can heal a little bit, because it's got like, well, you can see right there, it's got like little clumps of lime in it, like stuff that didn't get completely reduced. Let me see. Yeah, you can see little chunks in there. So every time it gets wet, those little pieces of lime are activated, and it can heal little hairline cracks or whatever, But this brick, it can't drink enough water. The brick I've been hosing it, and it cannot drink enough. It just dries so quick. And this is after I've just been sitting here hosing it several times. You can see the water it just dissipates instantly into this brick. So just hosing it like this will actually really help with the carbonation process and get it started. It's really good for the mortar to be damp like this. So every time I come here, I'll just hose it, you know, quite a bit. And yeah, that will help with everything. Everything looks good. Shingles match pretty good. These shingles over here are old and full of mildew and moss, so it's really hard to match. But you can see here matches that roof pretty good over there. This roof here is just, well, it matches okay down there. I guess when this stuff, I've hosed this roof, so when it dries up, it might look a little better. All right, I'm gonna finish hosing this roof, and then we're out of here until the stainless liners come. I finally got all the parts for this liner here. This order had a lot of custom parts on it, so it took a little while to get it, and I'm installing it now. So this is the wood stove liner. That's an 8-inch round liner, and this one's a little different because that concrete slab that's in there changes things a little bit. And so before, you know, their pipe, they had it rested, the bottom of their pipe, they had it rested on, you know, block and brick and stuff like that. But I don't want to do that because then you lose access to clean it out. So I want to make it easy for them to clean the stove out. So what I did is I got this bottom support made. I just got done drilling some holes in it. But basically, the straight pipe is going to go through this, right? And that's my 25-inch mark. I measured it before I took the wood stove pipe out, the existing one. So from the top of the T to there was the concrete slab. And this is going to go up against the concrete slab. I'm going to put some high temp mortar around it, and I'm going to screw it in with tap cons. And then I'll secure this pipe with some stainless screws to take the weight of the liner so that we can leave this bottom free. You know, it will attach to the stove, right? We'll leave the bottom free so we can actually have access to the clean out. Yeah, so the flex liner, the whole flex liner is going to be above that concrete. And so if the concrete's here, I'll put that plate on like this, right? And then that insulation, I've got my insulation wrap. I haven't taken it out of the box yet, but I'll insulate all the way down to, you know, the top of the slab is going to be here. So I'll probably insulate down to like here or something with it. And that's what I'm getting ready to do next. I just wanted to fit everything together, make sure everything was going to fit. There's a lot of components here that had to work together. I had this custom made to fit that wood stove. It's a Vermont Castings wood stove, so they custom made this oval for me. I did have to crimp it, and then I just had to shorten this T-snout, and then so now that's going to go on. And so there was a little fab work to do, but I think I'm just ready to put it all together now and insulate it. So I got this bottom plate all mounted up now, and I'm ready to send that liner right through the middle of it. I did put a gasket of that high temp motor caulking around there before I did put it up. So now that straight pipe will come down straight through there, and I'll be able to connect right to this, and this will hold the whole liner system